the game there. And on a personal note, I know this was brought up in executive session, which is not executive material, so I can talk about it. I'm concerned about the lack of common courtesy and civility between our board members. I in particular did not appreciate Mr. McIntyre in our executive session using the F word directed towards me and also his middle finger gesture also towards me. With everyone sitting at this table right now, with the exception of Ms. Isha, you're all present when this occurred and no one said a word. And I just wondered if anybody's thoughts if this is okay. Should it continue? With new board members coming on shortly, I would hope we would present ourselves a little bit more professionally. And that's all I have to say.
I think we all agree with that, Val, and I think you don't know what conversations were had after, and I think that what you failed to mention was that he apologized to you in the back room this evening for his
And
behavior.
you refused to even make eye contact
And I
or
said-
engage in the conversation.
And I said because there was a leak, because it came out. We went over a week with this happening. I don't need to talk about it anymore. This isn't the first time that it happened. I've had enough of it. I am an adult. I don't need that kind of language. My kids don't talk like that. We're supposed to be setting examples for students. That is not an example to set, especially to an adult. And that's all I have to say.
Nothing this evening.
Mr. Roba?
Well, that can't go. First of all, when that happened, it was unfortunate, way too emotional, and I actually did say something to Mr. McIntyre about that outburst then. So first of all. Secondly, in terms of setting an example for the children would have never known that such a word was used if you hadn't just made it public. So it's a peculiar message you're attempting to send. Hopefully, there will be more civility amongst this group as you go forward. It really doesn't matter. I mean, you can argue behind closed doors. You can even argue out here. The business of the school is still going to get done. Rarely when you get 9 people together, they all love each other and get along perfectly. So when you, though, air the things that happen in there publicly, which has happened repeatedly, at that point, I'm afraid the rules change. So that's all I have to say.
Do you want anything, Mr. McIntyre?
Yeah, I feel like I have to respond in some way, and I've been sitting here trying to calm down a little bit, but as far as setting an example for our children, personally, I would hope that if somebody did make a mistake, and they acknowledge that mistake, and they seek forgiveness for that mistake, I think the right thing to teach our children is to make at least eye contact with that person, hear them out. And if that's done behind closed doors, I think that's, if it's offered behind closed doors, you accept it behind closed doors, because that's where the offense happened. I think dismissing and refusing to hear that planned apology, that's why I cleared the room of the administration. You can ask Mary Beth, I had this intention for a week. I've made it clear that I wanted to address the board and the board in general to apologize for using the language I used. Anybody who knows me knows that it's amazing I haven't dropped a few words sitting here at this chair. It's something I work on and I struggle with, and I'm trying to do better. But to take that apology back there and literally not even look at me or attempt to have the conversation so that you can do it out here, that is, I think, equally as egregious as me using a dirty word in that back room. And that's all I have to say.
Okay, let's end that conversation and